Williams, Chief of Everything at Digital Conversations. And if you're in business or thinking of starting a business, you have no doubt heard of Janine Allis, seen her on TV, or read one of her books. Now, Janine is founder of Boost Juice and part owner of the Retail Zoo, which includes brands such as Salsa's Tex-Mex Grill, Seabell Espresso, and Hatch. And you may have also seen her grilling some entrepreneurs on Channel 10's Shark Tank. Now, they've got retail outlets around the world, and Janine has a very hands-on approach, and she knows a thing or two about building a successful brand. She has over 34,000 personal Twitter followers and over 64,000 Facebook fans, so she can see she's fairly digitally visible, and her and her team are quite savvy in the digital space. And it's an absolute honour and pleasure to speak to Janine. We've had a few difficult technical issues to get us started, but we're all good, and I'm really stoked to be talking to Janine, who I've admired since I read her first book many years ago. How are you, Janine?
Very well. How are you going?
Good. It's great to have a chat to you. Now, we're going to keep this really quick to power through a lot of the questions that we have. So I'm going to put you on the spot. So you've always been fairly visible as a founder of Boost Juice, and obviously you've launched some new brands under the Retail Zoo group. How has social media impacted your visibility and profile?
Look, we've been, I'm certainly not going to pretend that I'm digital savvy. I can put the TV connected to the DVD. I think that's about as much as I can get. However, we've been very conscious of how to reach our customers, and we're always looking at ways of reaching them effectively, and we go where they go. So even when, 17 years ago, when no one was getting inundated with emails for marketing, we started email marketing, and I literally hand typed the first 10,000 people from our Vive database into a computer. And then I saw some download from America. We did a course of how to reach them by having it, having your name on it and being very personalized. So even 17 years ago, when the internet really had barely got started, actually I don't even think it had got started, we were very much touching base in this marketplace. So we are always keep our eyes and ears into what innovations are happening in this space.
So I imagine when you looked at what you did with your first store launch back in Adelaide, and what you do now from a digital point of view is quite different, right?
Yeah, look, yes and no. I think when you do a store launch, we don't necessarily go that close to digital. We do, it is a part of it, an element of it.
Yeah.
A lot of the e-commerce businesses out there, we're very visible because we're in a high traffic area. So we use that as a means, and the fact that we have a strong brand. I think ongoing campaigns to promote and push certain things that we're doing at the time, we have a lot of fun with. We've had great joy in social media because we are a bit of a cheeky, naughty brand sometimes, and we can sort of be a little bit more naughty and cheeky. Sometimes we cross the line when we shouldn't, but that's part of digital.
But that's part of your brand, right?
It is part of the brand. We did a beetroot juice at one point, and then the whole promotion was having a root, and so we do. We just have a lot. We have a lot of fun. I mean, we laugh. Everyone else does.
But I mean that's part of as you said, that brand culture and what you've built, and I think it's okay to have some personality behind the brand and what you do. I think that's really important.
Yeah, look, it is, and we take our products very seriously, but we don't take ourselves very seriously. And I think that in life, I think when people take everything too serious, I think that's when you take the joy out of life. I think that life is far too PC, and people are far too oversensitive about things. And I think that there's something about being a child of the 60s when everything was a little bit more free.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I know we are a bit sensitive sometimes, aren't we?
Yeah.
So how do you integrate digital into your systems and processes then from a back end point of view? I imagine that's, having CRMs and the right sort of systems in place, using those digital tools, given that you're worldwide, would be quite important.
Yeah, CRMs is one part of it, and, making sure that we go to good companies to be able to really maximize that part of the business, and we're very evolved in that area. So people that only want Mango Magic, we give them information on that, or if you can order now on the app. So you know, people, we now we can actually narrow the choices down, so they're not having to go through 100 recipes. They can go to a smaller choice that we know that they'll like to pick from, as well as the other options if they want it. You know, people don't like to queue, so we've given them that option now that they don't have to queue anymore. Back end, we're very savvy in that area. We've got, you know, for every staff member that comes on, they go through a training program, so they know about the products, they know about us, they know about the culture, they know expectations. As to a point where we have something called Zuby, which is our product, our program that can track sales and track cost of goods, and so we've got the mechanics of the business side of it really nailed digitally, and then you've got the marketing side, which is where you look at your CRMs, you look at your social medias, and just watching what's happened over the last 15 years. Like Facebook was free. You know, Facebook's no longer free.
Yeah, right.
You know, so, and they've got to find their business model, and they have. And you know what they've done is they've gone, come to us, haha, we've got you now. Now we're going to charge you if you want to speak to people. So, which, good luck to them. Yep. So we've got to now work through other ways of marketing or how we spend. And I think we're the first generation. These businesses are the first generation of the digital movement, and what we do and what we're learning will go on to the next generation of businesses. But we're doing it first. Yeah. We're working it out, and just as we work it out, they change it on us. But that's okay. But we're already in the system.
Yeah. And you mentioned before about some of the systems that you're using. I would imagine that you guys are able to pull a huge amount of data that then allows you to fine-tune products and launch new products to the market. Do you guys use a lot of data?
Yeah, look, we do. I think that intuitively you know your business and you know what works. I mean, we have, whenever we do anything, we've got targets we've got to meet. How many people it has to reach. At the end of the day, it results in sales. Or it may be just a noisy brand building exercise that we want to do. So then we have different things we check. So it really depends on, what we're trying to achieve with how we actually approached it.
Yeah. So and you've got with your, I suppose, your model and how it stands. How do you manage, particularly social media, from a local store perspective and a head office perspective? Do the local stores have control over what they do from a social media perspective, or do you guys manage all that from head office?
Good point. They should have control, because there might be we've got one in Sydney Macquarie shopping centre. Well, that's right next to the Sydney Macquarie University, which is where 90% of their customers come from. So they need to be able to do, we call it SLAM, strategic local area marketing, and they need to be able to use digital.
Love it.
They actually be able to use digital to be able to draw those people in. So there's definitely a individual one, and some stores do it really well, and some stores do it poorly. Yeah. And sometimes that's the age of the franchisee that's in there. And sometimes so we do more of a national component, and then we do have per store component as well.
Yeah, I mean, because you guys are so active, I suppose, in the social media space, do you have a team of people that work on that for you? How does that look from an internal point of view?
Yeah, we've got, I think the team is about 9. So there's a guy that
just for social media?
Just for digital and social media. So I say social media. Yeah. Social media, that's sort of Facebook, but we sort of try and see it a bit broader than that, and it's who we're reading. But we've got a great team, and very creative team in there, and my job is to clear the freeway so they can actually be creative and do some of the amazing things that we're doing. But we also need to understand what mediums are for what. So I have I do Twitter, so I have a Twitter following. I have a blog. So, we have part of our business is selling other franchises and, getting people to understand how business works. And also I love being able to help people in business to hopefully learn some of the lessons that I learned. So some of the things I write are just some of our learnings and how I think about business and life. And so, you've got LinkedIn for that, you've got the blog and Twitter. Then you've got, Facebook is not really an individual thing. Facebook is something the business uses, as Instagram is, and then
Yeah.
You got Pinterest, which is probably not really a space we go into, but if I was into jewelry, my business would be more on Pinterest. So it really does depend on your business and what you're trying to achieve, is what your mediums is. But people that think that, you know, all mediums are for all purposes, it's not. You've got to understand what, you know, the purpose of Twitter, and you've got Twitter, and the purpose of LinkedIn, the different audiences on LinkedIn, which is Twitter, which is Facebook. So you've just got to understand it.
Yeah. And I think that's a mistake that many of them make, is they don't start with their audience and where their audience is. They think, oh, I have to be on all these platforms because my competitors are. And the conversations I have with clients are exactly around that. Well, where is your audience and what platforms are they on? And let's start with that, rather than thinking that you have to be everything and do everywhere and do everything. Because as a small business, you often can't, right?
Yeah, and look, understanding that, you know, Twitter is probably more of a people follow people more than businesses on Twitter, you know, and Facebook is more of a business space, and sort of understanding the spaces as well. And look, and understand who the customers are.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So do you see digital for you guys as more of a support mechanism to your traditional marketing, or are they sort of both quite strong in what you put to market?
Look, you know, in the 80s, you had magazines, press, radio, TV. That's all you had. And you had to work within
very different landscape.
Yeah, very, and you know, there was only so many newspapers and then so many TVs and so many radio stations. So it was in some respects, it was a very simple way of marketing, and expensive because it had a duopoly or a quadropoly or whatever it was. Now you've got many different mediums, and you know, I think that if you use traditional media like radio or TV, and to support your digital media, I think that it is a very powerful way of marketing. I don't think you should be going, dump TV or dump radio or dump digital. I think it's understanding that one can support another, and one can drive traffic to another. Because in actual fact, the difference with digital is in some respect you have to go searching for it, or it comes on your phone. With radio, you're in the car listening to it, you know, Tony Martin, Mick Malloy, and then, you know, something, you know, pops up while you're on the thing. You go, oh, I never even thought about that. I wouldn't even gone searching for it. I'll now go search for it. So, and TV, you know, you're watching, you know, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here, and then an ad pops up. You go, oh, okay, I will go and now find that, or they'll have their phone next to them. They'll go, you know, do it. You know, like when we do Shark,
which happens a lot. And I talk to people about what I call tradigital, which is that mix of traditional and digital, because exactly that, they complement each other and they should be used together, and you should be leveraging off both rather than thinking of them as separate channels, right?
But it is interesting when you start to look at views, you know, you can be tricked into thinking that, you know, for the costs that you're getting for digital, you're reaching a lot more people than you are with TV. But you've got to then also weigh up what the quality of the viewer is, you know, compared to the viewer of a TV. So, you know, when you're watching TV, you're probably watching the TV because you're watching a show. If you're on another screen like a computer, like we are today, then you might be doing emails as well, and you might be doing this, you might be doing that. So the quality potentially of the view may be lower. So and I think we're just working it all out. I don't know if it's true or not, but we're working it out. And, you know, you're working out where do I spend my dollar?
Yeah, exactly. So what's probably been the biggest digital challenge that you guys have had to date then?
Without question, the biggest challenge is enabling the back end to cope with some of the volumes that we do. So we had we do a push notification to let people know that we've got certain offers out, and because people then jump on it, then it crashed behind us. So the biggest challenge was the infrastructure.
Yeah. Okay, it's interesting. It's one answer that I don't hear very often. And I imagine you've got IT department and so forth working on all those sorts of challenges to go, well, how do we do it better in future? Yeah,
and sometimes you're using third-party providers, and you know they have issues that you didn't expect them to have, and they didn't expect our promotions to be as successful as they are, and they didn't cope with the volume. So it's definitely probably the infrastructure. And one of the challenges with Shark Tank was when the businesses came on, then nearly all of the websites crashed. So because of the sheer volume, people going, oh, I want to know about them, and they went and Googled them, and then went on the website, and then the website just collapsed. So, I think that as we're growing, the infrastructure, and look, the other thing we've got to be aware of is that, we've got now what we watch on TV is our mobile phone that we're actually in a bus going to work with has live TV on it. Netflix, another space, into some guys that were doing the cabling, the optic cabling to actually connect it. They're saying that, that is a new space that they've never had to think, or people didn't expect to have this sort of data going through these optic fibres. So it is an interesting time.
Yeah, it is. So over the next 12 months then, what do you see as maybe any new digital tools or trends or platforms that are going to play an important role for your brands?
Oh, look, to be honest, I think I think no one can predict some of the things that are going to be popping up. There was MySpace at one point, which was bigger than Ben-Hur.
What was that, MySpace? How long ago was that?
It had a monopoly, but something came up that was better, which was Facebook. And so you've really got to you've got to be around where, and in some respects people are going, well, Facebook's more for the 40-year-olds. The kids are no longer on Facebook. They're on other social media. You go to LinkedIn,
Snapchat or somewhere else.
Yeah, LinkedIn's and you seek. So where do I get my jobs from? Well, LinkedIn. So there's a lot of different. All of these people are working out how they can muscle in their space, and who knows what's going. I've never heard of whatever this thing we're on, Bob, but whatever it is. Right?
We're on Blab, yeah.
I've never heard of it before, right? And what this space can do and how that can interact with things going forward. So the answer is that I think that now that humans are not now coming up with some of these ideas, but robots or computers are coming up with these ideas who they work quicker and more efficiently and faster, then I don't think any of us can comprehend what's coming up. I spoke to my grandmother a few years ago, and I said to her, in her lifetime, she was 96. I said, in her lifetime, what's the biggest thing that has changed, or the biggest invention? Thinking she'd say, internet and some of this social media, and she said electricity. So without electricity, forget internet. So for her lifetime, we went from electricity to where we are today. So now we are where we are today. Yeah. It is just going to be faster than we've ever seen in the history of us existing.
Oh, for sure. Digital and technology changes on a daily basis, and just keeping up with some of the things is just really hard to do. So you look at where you were even 2 years ago or 3 years ago, in that short space of time. So exactly, I think in the next couple of years, we're going to be in a different space again. Now, I know we're in a bit of a time crunch, Janine, this afternoon. So what's next for you guys?
What's on that quickly? You used to go down the street and see hard rubbish days with the big fat TVs. Now we're seeing flat TVs. So it shows there's definitely a trend. So what's next for us?
Yes. Yeah. What's next for you guys over the next year?
Look, we're still in growth mode, so we've got great growth with not only Boost Juice Bars, but Chibo and Salsas. So we're still growing aggressively there. We probably should hit our 200 stores internationally, which is pretty exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's great. We're Shark Tank there's going to be another season of Shark Tank coming this year. So they haven't actually given us the firm dates, but I'd say it's looking at sometime after Easter at this point. So that's exciting. So we've already done the filming for that. So that will be pretty cool to see how that comes up. You always go, oh, really? Is that how I look? The fantastic businesses that are popping up. So that's actually, that's pretty exciting.
I watched the first series and I love the ways you guys interact together and the different perspectives, because I spoke to Steve. I did an interview with Steve end of last year, and the way he spoke about it as well, and it was really quite interesting. I'm looking forward to the next season.
Yeah, well, we go for each other a lot more. I mean, we actually do love each other. We actually have.
Oh.
But I think it's like our siblings. You like each other, but you can really tell them what you think. Well, there's
Yeah.
a question that we're telling each other exactly how we think this season, and and it's and so it's a some really good juicy debate. So it'll I think it has a lot more fire this season than last season. I think we're less polite than last season. We didn't know each other very well, so we were very polite last season. We've gone bugger that this season.
I love it. I love it. Now, the last thing I'm going to ask you, Janine, is how do you manage to stay in shape while you're running a business empire and still look so fabulous?
Oh, wow. Thank you for that. I love my yoga. So I do yoga 6 days a week. And so that keeps me in really good nick. And look, I am an absolutely massive fan of our product, so I'm not an extremist in the sense that I don't, even though you might go 6 days a week, yoga is probably extreme, but that doesn't seem extreme. But I love a glass of red at night. I sometimes have fat days where I binge on whatever, particularly once a month. But that's what business is built on. It's built on giving people choice. So I love the fact that we've created a black range, a green range, which is just blended fruit and veggies, which I must admit I stick with that range and love it. So I'm sensible with my eating. I believe in the low HI diet, which is low human intervention diet, and eat as naturally. So yeah, and but it's not. But it's okay to not be perfect all the time, which I'm far from.
Very true. Awesome. Janine, thank you so much. I know your time is very valuable, and I've loved chatting to you, and hopefully I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in the retail space with you guys over the next 12 months. And congratulations on all your success so far. I'm a massive fan, particularly of Boost, because that's been around a lot longer, but love what you guys do, and just keep up the good work.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Janine. You have a fabulous evening.
Okay, bye.
Bye.